Okay, so welcome to your Unit 1 Roots notes. We're going to start with root number 1. Number 1 is am amor. So am amor is a root that means love or liking. So you can write love, liking underneath am amor. And then over in this box I'm going to tell you 3 words at least. A lot of times I'll give you more than 3, but I want you to write at least 3 words in this box. The first word I'm going to use is the word amorous, and I'm going to change that font so that this is going to show up just as big as your other notes, or I'm going to try to make it just as big as your other words. There we go. Amorous is a word that means loving. This is a word that is not loving, usually like a mother loves a child, or a child loves, a brother loves a sister, but this is like a romantic love. Someone could send you an amorous note, or give you an amorous glance across the room, and it would be kind of steamy. The next word that I'm going to use is a kind of a fancy way of saying that you are in love with someone or something, and that is enamored. And you could be like, I am enamored of the new Doctor Who show or series. Or you could say that Billy is enamored of Betty. I don't know why they have such weird names, but they do. And so that would be that they're in love with. And then the last one is more on the liking side, and that word is amiable. If somebody is amiable, it means they are able to be liked. They're likable. I'm going to have you pause the video at this point, and then in this box draw something, make a little sketch that will help you remember that am amor means love, liking, and then go on to number 2. Alright, for number 2, Annie, Anu, Any. This is a root that means year. Okay, so some of the words that mean Annie, Anu, or Any, or that contain those roots are the word, let's change our font back up here again, the word anniversary. Anniversary. And an anniversary happens once a year. So you might have an anniversary of the day that you got your pet. And you would say, this is our 1-year anniversary. Or people who are in relationships, they will count maybe the 1st year anniversary, 2nd year anniversary, your marriage anniversary. And you also, every year, have a birthday, which is the anniversary of the day that you were born. I'm going to find one that has anu. So the word annual means that it happens once a year. If you have an annual event, it happens once a year. You can add ly and say that event happens annually. That means yearly. And then sometimes we celebrate something called a centennial. Now I'm looking at that E-N-N-I form of the root. Centennial means every 100 years. C-E-N-T is a root that means 100, like a century. You could have a bicentennial, that means 200 years. Bi is a prefix that means 2. Also, if you're a gardener, you might perennial. You might have flowers that are perennials. Perennials are ones that will come up every year. So you don't have to replant them every year. They seed themselves and they will come up again from the bulbs the next year. So Annie, Anu, Any means year. Pause, draw a picture, and then we're ready to go on to number 3. Number 3 is odd, A-U-D, odd. And odd means to hear or listen. Some of the words that I'm going to come up with here for odd. The first one is pretty simple. It's audio. So when I'm making this video, I have to also have sound with it, or you wouldn't be able to hear me. So I'm going to check my audio. Another one is just auditory. That means just dealing with sound. So anything that's talking, if you had an auditory disorder, it would mean a disorder of your hearing. I'm going to give you the word audible. Audible, using those suffixes, I-B-L-E, means able to be heard. So when you whispered that at the back of the room, it was audible to me, and I was able to hear it at the front of the room. The people who listen to you are the audience, and sometimes you would listen to them in an auditorium. Okay, that's a listening place. Again, pause, draw your sketch, and we're ready to move on to auto, ought. Sometimes it doesn't have the O in it. Auto-ought means self. So we've got some words that have auto or ought at their root. One of them you probably see just about every day, and that is an automobile. An automobile, its root meaning, means move. An automobile moves itself. Back in the days when people got everywhere in carriages or other things that are pulled by horses or oxen, it was amazing to have something that could pull itself. It has an engine in it that moves itself. Automatic is something that acts by itself, so it's automatic. And I'm going to give you autograph. Autograph. And graph is a root that means writing. We'll get to that in a later unit. But to graph, so this is your self-writing or your signature. And then I would like you to pause and draw something that will help you remember that auto, ought means self. Alright, so number 5 is bio, and the root bio means life. So some of the words that we have that have bio at their root, we'll start just with biology, and ology usually means the study of, so we have the study of life. In biology class you're going to study animals and plants and fungus and other living matter. I'm going to go back to the root that we just saw in autograph, and we had graph, which means writing, and we'll go with biography. A biography means something, a writing about someone's life. And actually, we could probably pop another one into auto, because autobiography means a self-life writing. So there we go, self-life write. Another word for bio, I know some people have biodegradable things. That means that they will degrade, they will break down, and they are into living matter. We can have antibiotics. Bio is in there. Anti means against, so an antibiotic is a medicine you take that works against the living bacteria and viruses inside you. We could have a biohazard, and that means that something is hazardous or dangerous to life. Okay, you only need 3 of these, but just something to make sure that the more you write down, actually, the better you'll do on all the assessments. But pause for a second, and over here in your box, sketch something that will help you remember that bio means life. Number 6, let's get it down into its own box there, is century. And this one is really easy because century means center. So century means center. And some of the words that have century in them are, this one's cool, concentric. Concentric, con, as a prefix means with or together. So if you see concentric circles, that means circles that share the same center. Think of a bullseye, or think of when you drop a pebble into water and then you have concentric circles all radiating out. Centra is the center, and they all have the same center. A little bit different from that is this word, eccentric. EX is a prefix that means like outside of or away from, and so if you would use the word eccentric to describe somebody who was a little bit different. They were kind of off-center, or a little bit different from the rest of the people. And then I'm going to give you a couple of them here that are science terms, centrifugal and centripetal. These are forces. Centrifugal is a force that moves away from a center, so think of when you take a bucket and you fill it up with half full of water, and then you swing it around in your hand, and you can go all the way upside down without the water falling out. That's the centrifugal force that keeps that water out. And centripetal is pulling in toward the center, like what keeps the planets orbiting the sun instead of flying off into outer space. So pause, draw something that will help you, maybe a bullseye or a pebble dropping into water with concentric circles, and then we'll move on to number 7. 7 is chrome, and chrome means color. So first one I'm going to give you is the word for something that is all one color, and that is monochrome, or if we're describing something, monochromatic. That's the more common term, monochromatic. So that would be like on the day where you wore your navy blue pants and your navy blue polo, and you dressed all in navy blue. You were dressed in monochromatic fashion. You were dressed monochromatically. The opposite of that would be polychromatic, which means many colors. Poly is a prefix that means many. So polychromatic means many colors. Chrome is a really, really shiny metal, and it used to be used on cars, on automobiles quite a bit, and it is all the colors because it's all reflecting and shiny and silver. And then in your cells, you have chromosomes. I'm going to leave it singular, I guess. Chromosome is the colored body inside of a cell. So when scientists were first looking at cells inside of microscopes, they were able to see all that cytoplasm, and it was all clear. And inside of it was the part that holds all of your genetic material, and it was dark. It was colored, so they called it the chromosomes. All right, draw a picture for chrome meaning color, and we move on to chrone, which means time. So we have chrome color, chrone time, and the first one that I'm going to give you is a word that you need to use a lot when you're talking about stories, and that is chronological. And chronological means that it's logical, it's in order of time. So you start with what happened first, second, third, and so on. Another one is this word, synchronize. Okay, you might synchronize your watches with your fellow spies before you head into the building to do your spying work. And that means you're going to set your time, chrone, together. Syn means with or together. And the last word I'm going to give you for chrone is this word chronicle. So chronicle is a story told, a series of stories that are telling from beginning to end, so telling in chronological order. You might chronicle your time in 7th grade by starting in September when you were just a brand new little 7th grader, and you could go all the way through. A lot of people know about the Chronicles of Narnia. The stories are a whole series of books that all tell through time what happens to the children who go through the wardrobe. Take a minute to draw a picture and then go on to number 9, side. Side is a fun prefix. It means kill, and there are lots of things that you can kill with this word. We can start with a pesticide. That kills pests. You can have an insecticide. That kills insects. There's homicide. That kills people. We have suicide. Kills self. We can, I think that's where we'll stop. That's enough killing. Alright, draw something not too gory, please, that will help you remember that side means kill. And then we can go on to our last one, which is civ. Civ is a root that means citizen. And here are some words to help you with civ. So if you are a civilian, that means that you are a citizen who is not a part of the military. If you are a citizen, you have what's called your civic responsibilities. And in 9th grade, I think, you'll take a class called civics, where you learn all about, voting and how the American people, as a part of our democracy, have rights and responsibilities that go along with being a citizen. If people are all living together and they are citizens and they are civilized, they might live in a civilization, and that is a group of citizens that are all living together and have a formed culture.